Welcome back, everybody. It's Rudy with Alpha Investments, unacknowledged investments, uncensored, raw, unbiased, and unsponsored investments. And today, there's certain things in life that people tend to question in email and say, Rudy, how is that a guy makes a magic channel, doesn't get sponsored, acknowledged, or just talked about, but ends up like influencing and having a bigger impact than I don't understand what's going on. Well, my friends, that's what happens when you have raw, uncontrolled, unbiased content that's not influenced by the corporate conglomerate. So today, when somebody contacts me and says, Rudy, I've been buying from ChannelFireball just as you have for many years, and I've never had a problem. I love ChannelFireball. I've bought from them hundreds of times and spent tens of thousands. But I got a problem, and I want your opinion. I say, well, first of all, I don't believe you. When they tell me that they purchased a beta Berserk, and it's in damaged condition, so that's already interesting. They paid $100. It's in English. They paid by PayPal. There's a little tracking number from Canada, and it came from ChannelFireball. Blah blah blah. I'm sure ChannelFireball already knows who it is. Doesn't really matter. It's not really the point. The question everybody wants to know: number one, did ChannelFireball sell rebacked beta collector's edition cards? The answer is technically yes. The question number two: Rudy, do you think they did it intentionally? Do you think ChannelFireball is doing that intentionally? The answer is no. I believe this was an accident, at least that's what I'm telling myself. I do not believe there was any ill intent by ChannelFireball. I think this is a simple case of they sold a damaged, played beta card, and quite frankly, the person who was involved, grading or shipping, did not realize that it was a rebacked collector's edition card. Now, the fact it's damaged is what really gives the card away. Let's see if we can, I don't know if we can zoom into something like this. We're going to give it a shot here. So we're going to really go through a lot of things and really discuss with everybody how this works. First things first, let's look at a collector's edition card and a regular card. Now, side by side, let's zoom in real close for everybody. The first thing you're going to notice, the font, everything is very particular. Let me get my handy dandy high professional tools out for everybody. The first thing you're going to notice, over here on projectile number 3, you're going to notice that the actual font and everything matches for the Beta Collector's Edition. Now, we're going to go over, and let's bring into the equation, a PSA 10 Alpha Berserk. Even though it's in a plastic case, you're immediately going to notice that the Dan Frazier on these two Collector's Edition cards, even though this is technically sold as a beta card on top, the beta card sold in question and the Collector's Edition card are the same thing. Notice the Alpha, the actual Alpha card, notice the font difference. Notice the more gray, this has a different, you can see very distinctively the textured rays difference between them. Also, re-emphasizing that it is a rebacked Collector's Edition card. This is not a beta card on top. And then, of course, the really interesting part about it is when you actually go, let's just take a look here. It was sold as a damaged card, okay? Well, here's the issue. And unfortunately, you guys can't see the bright light and everything on the camera. If you put a bright light through it, the card has a yellow tint and you can see the glue lines. And more importantly, you ready, everybody? The card is literally separating. You can see the blue core and the actual separation, and you can feel the chunks of glue between the card. You can feel that the card has actually been rebacked. In addition to that, like I said, you put a light through it, and the card actually has like a yellowish, blotchy tint. You can see like blotches of glue. In addition, the corners are not cut correctly as a beta card should be. So that's another big red flag for everybody. So we've got a lot of things going wrong here. In my personal opinion, I'll be very blunt. I do not believe ChannelFireball knew this was a rebacked card. Now, I already know what the comment section is going to say. Come on, Rudy. This is all they do. They're one of the biggest. How can they not know? The people who handle that handle old cards all day, every day. I have a hard time accepting that seeing something like this does not stand out. And I know that's a really tough argument, which is what makes this case study very, very interesting, that they would not actually realize this is a reback. I mean, it's so obvious, it's almost disturbing. I'm going to try to get some lighting here to see if you guys can tell. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off. The card has waviness to it, which is another sign that when it was actually rebacked, I don't know if you can tell, like the way the light reflects on the card, it can either be like a water damage where it gets like waviness. It doesn't have a clean line. You can see that the texture differentiates. Is that even a word? You can tell the differences. See where I'm holding the corner? You see how it's almost got light crease lines? The card does not feel and have the correct texture. So it fails almost every single test except the fact that it is a real card. So let's go to the next thing now. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to jump over. And I know these are in PSA cases, but let's take a look, everybody. So let's take a look. Let's pull out some raws. Now, unfortunately, I only have alpha raws and not the beta, but the card itself is the same style. So we want to take some alpha raw cards. Let's take a bunch of them. And let's really reinforce the point I was making. So this, when we go even further here, let's look at all these alpha raw cards. Okay, let's put all the Dan Frazier's together. And now, let's take the card in question and put it on top. Again, most of you may or may not know, depends how familiar you are. And this is why I always talk about, if you don't have a lot of comparisons, it makes it more difficult to do. For me, it's very obvious. I don't know how it's coming through on the camera, but you can tell the Dan Frazier on these three, the font looks thinner and more gray. This looks like a bigger font. Do you notice this card? I'm trying to make it as clear as possible. To me, the bottom three Dan Fraziers look all the same, and the fourth looks whiter and brighter. So does that seem pretty clear to everybody? Let's do the top. So let's reverse it. Let's look at a bunch of alpha tops here. Okay, whoa, actually I should have started with that. This is actually, hang on, let me try to make this real nice and neat. So let's look at the alpha berserks. So let's look at the top of these. So let's try that. Okay, so now the same thing we can see right at the top. What do you guys notice? Look at the berserk right here. Do you notice how white it's bolder and whiter? And look at these. These are more gray. Does not look the same. These three have a lot of consistencies. And this fourth one, you can tell it's not the same as the one right behind it. The square, the black bordering, and the little dot at the diamond corners there, there's still the diamond dots on all of them. They did that in all of them. But the biggest difference that stands out is you can tell very, very clearly. Look at the B on the Berserk. Look how thick the font is. Look at how thick the white is versus the gray. It's grayer and thinner and it's fatter. This Berserk needs to go on a diet. This one's thinner and grayer. So we're going to stop there for as far as the font and everything goes. I think that's enough information to really reinforce a point with everybody because I think it's real fascinating. And like I said, now I'm also going to state, this is one of the reasons you should buy from a big company like these. The benefits of buying from a ChannelFireball or any of the other large conglomerates is when something like this happens to you, they're going to take care of you. I'm not sponsored by them. I don't know anybody personally there. But again, when something bad happens, I guarantee you, the gentleman who sent me this, and I printed out, he was nervous about the name and everything. But I guarantee you, the gentleman on here is just going to return it, and ChannelFireball will issue a refund. Now, I'm sure that he's going to have to send the card back, because after this video, the card's already being mailed. So by the time you watch this video, the card's already gone and back to him. I don't know what he's going to do with it. I don't know the outcome. But the point of bringing all this to everyone's attention, we got two main takeaways. Number one, when you buy from a big magic company, there is still chances that you can get something that is not authentic. This has nothing to do with ChannelFireball, has nothing to do with eBay, Moon City, really cool things, Card Kingdom castles that are flying around. At the end of the day, they're run by humans. I believe this is an anomaly because I have bought a lot of alpha beta raw cards over the years from ChannelFireball and many other companies. I've never had a problem. I do not believe this is normal. In addition, if something happens, they will take care of you. If you tell them, they're just going to be like, oh, send it back for a refund. Where if you deal with eBay or TCG Play or some of the other websites, you're probably going to have individual buyers do a little heavier pushback. They're going to think you did a switcheroo. They're going to think something's going on. So there is benefits to that. But at the end of the day, the most important takeaway for everybody, just because you buy from a big company does not guarantee 100% of human error. Something didn't happen by accident. You always need to check your cards. Everybody needs to check the cards. Okay? And the problem is if you're just starting out, you don't have comparisons, you don't know what you're looking for, and I hate to say it this way, it may be in your best interest to buy PSA or BGS graded cards. You don't have to buy high-end PSA, BGS 9, 9.5s, or 10s. You can buy 6, 7, or 8s just to build a collection, or you can crack the cases and just keep the cards raw. A lot of the times when the graded cards come back 7 or lower, you can actually get them cheaper than you can a raw card, because people are just kind of like, oh, I don't want to touch that. That's a terrible card. You know, and I've gotten a lot of good deals like that. So this is more of a PSA buyer beware, everybody. Let everyone know, you know, pros and cons. But the biggest thing, check your cards. Although this is a ChannelFireball transaction on this particular buyer sent it to me, I'm sure by the time you guys even watch this video, he's probably already got a refund and they already took the card back. But like I said, I wanted people to be aware. They are still humans. You need to verify everything. You need to know what you're looking at. If you don't know what you're doing, do not just buy raw cards from eBay or somewhere and just assume that everything is on the up and up. Because as this hobby continues to develop and age and get fancier and more money involved, we're going to have more and more people that are going to try to counterfeit things, and they're going to try to make money off people who don't know what the hell they're looking at. So I just want everybody to be aware of that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something. I have no idea how anyone's going to take this video, but it's just something that people need to understand, that, you know, we're all human. Even some of these big companies, some may be accidents, some may not be accidents. We don't know, but just know what the hell you're doing. I hope you guys had fun today, enjoyed the video, learned something. You guys have a fantastic day. Giggity.